I'll tell you how I feel, but for now, let's just try to analyze the game. Hello and welcome to Cosi Nation Fan TV. I am Bilo. I'm your host, and in this video, we'll be reacting, analyzing the match between Bafana Bafana and Morocco, which gave me mixed feelings, and you know, you will understand what I'm talking about as we continue with the video. So the first thing is that information from the get-go is that it looked like a 3-5-2. Yet at the same time, the formation looked like a 5-3-2. Now, kuleo 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, depending on ukuthi si build up kanjani. What would happen is you had Percy on one side and then you had Forster on the other side. And then Lorch was playing as a false 9 / number 10, which was to compensate for the fact that we did not have enough people in the midfield. But at the same time, it was harming us defensively because when we had to mark the ball, then the problem was that akazazi ukuthi uLorch kumele abe kuphi, because he has defensive duties but also has offensive duties. So now in his mind he had to calculate sometimes ukuthi, am I pressing as part of the 3, in which case the shape would have changed to like what, to E3-4-3. Yeah, ishape ibishintsha ibe 3-4-3 mawukuthi uLorch advances and then apresse phambili, and then bese uthola the 2 wing backs okulakhe ngapha umdawu ngapha bepusha on the wide sides, and then ebephakathi nendawo usithole no usithole ubedlala noba ubedlala nomsele. It was kind of too much for Lorch, and that is why we didn't see too much of him, because every time Masekumele attack, he's not in his position, because position actually ukuyidlala, it's either kuyazi ukuthi udlala as number 10 and you have 2 people behind you abazokudefendela, or udlala as a false 9, and we know very good your position is more advanced and you will be dropping to collect the ball, not ukuthi you will be in a dropped position, you'll already be number 10, but then you have to advance. So it was a bit tricky because the freedom yokuthi go left, go right wasn't that much. So from the start, you could see ukuthi vele our plan, or Bruce's plan, was ukuthi get the ball, use the pace ka Forster no down. And it worked. That's how we scored the goal, because what a pass from Ustole. We get the ball back and then we try to break, and then we did it. We catch them off, because I'm a defender Morocco, especially ama center backs nje awekho awanalo ijubane, bebenge abanalo nje ijubane laba bantu. Even egolini, the person was tracking back ocishe wavimba Forster from scoring. It was actually Hakimi coming from the right side and covering for it defend, which just goes to show ukuthi lapha there was more that we could have done. We will talk about the other chances that we got that we did not capitalize on. And while we're on this, we'll just talk about how much I understand ukuthi ukekana and uphethe no Phyllis bancane, but ayi bafethu kunento nje ekade ngayitholi lapha. It was like all the time ibhola masel crossiwe lingena phakathi, they were always caught, njalo nje bona caught. It's either ukekana uGrant ubhizi ubuka uphethe ukuthi hayibo wena awuma kanjani, naye ngapha ubheka uPhyllis, and at time uPhyllis actually did better than the two mawuthatha ukubheka. Well, that's because isikhathi esiningi besuke khavelula K naye. That's another problem nje yodwa nje seceleni nayo. It's a lot. Let's continue to unpack this thing. Oh my god. So Makali game, we're on the front, we were like pressing them, and it's something that seemed like they were not expecting. It's like they were expecting Wuti, we're just gonna let them play, but we didn't, because everyone, we could see Wuti, there's energy about the team, and we were pressing them, which is something that lacked against France. We did not see any press, we just saw young boys idolizing France. But this time around, and if you better velen, I will speak against it. So we saw that, and that part was good. Okay, we saw good. Okay, the boys are pressing. The boys are trying to, make them uncomfortable. The stadium sabo, even winning the ball back and breaking an counter. It's the way. But in the big you can see when a team is clueless, and you can also see when a team is not coping. And Bafana Bafana, it's not that today they were clueless like against the France. Today they were just not coping. Because kukho konke bebekwenza baqale bapressa, but iMorocco bilokhu nje ithe. Kubele sabathe ilokhu ithe. All the time belokhu bebapressile, and they were struggling, and eventually ubonile ukuthi ama energy levels aseqalile vele ayadropa. And omunye umuntu esizokhuluma ngaye umsele, guys. On the ball ububona lapha nalapha, but bafethu, if you are a midfielder and you are playing in a double pivot kanje, into esi-expectiwe lapho akuna-anchor, okusho ukuthi noba u-2 you must work as hard as the other, because if kunento ezoba inkinga eswini, if you are not working hard enough, then you are actually saying uSithole akasebenze even harder agcine commit ama-fouls, because umsele ubelove nje ngize ngikhohle ukuthi umsele ukhona negroundini. How am I say vele ukhona umsele? And then when he eventually shows up egroundini wenza mistake, and then Williams wamsaver, and shout out to uRono and usavile lwamjita namhlanje, although ukugcina sekuba ngathi kube useless, but usisavile kakhulu today. And you see why umsele was brought in egroundini, because Bruce seems like ubefuna ukudlala ibhola, and you could see ukuthi if besaliqhumuza ibhola besidlalisa kahle ibhola, build it up, which was good. But the problem is angazi noma iground belimanzi, but iMorocco was not sleeping. But I saw umsele sleeping, I saw uSithole sleeping, so khuluma futhi nangoMathi naye he slept what's the word? He slipped. Yes, he slipped. Yes, he slipped. Naye so angazi noma makhokha bawagqokile noma pressure. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say it's the pressure, because why did Morocco not sleep on? So it's that thing yokuthi bezama build up from the back, which is a positive thing to see, because abengasizi la mabhola la besilokhu siwasha phezulu, because unoLorch, unoTau, unoForst, they are not really the target men abazowina ama-header against abantu abase-North Africa, people who are tall, physical nje bakhulu kunawe, not uzodlala ibhola phezulu. So that wasn't making sense vele, and it was a weird thing to even try to do. And into engiyishoyo ukuthi it did seem like Bruce had some sort of a plan, but the center backs were just a disappointment. The number of chances that we conceded, because if you're playing a back 5 in a defensive shape, or a back 3 would say attack, yet you still creating or conceding so many chances, because the reason why umuntu engadlala a back 5, it's because you are trying to neutralize Hakimi, because Hakimi gives them a width. So if they don't have a width, we have Ulake out wide, then you are basically trying to make sure Uguti Hakimi doesn't get as many chances as he would. But the problem is that into enzakalayo la isweni lebente bengisho ngoLorch ukuthi uLorch is not working hard enough, because naye udlaliswa ama position awu2 egame neyodwa. What ends up happening is that the biggest problem was not the width Hakimi and vele uyobe sinikeza inkinga enkulu, but it wasn't the fact that he was providing a width, because we had Ulake to overcome that. The problem was the person was playing, we have space. In some cases, Beguba El Nezri, questions cut, someone else from the midfield will be figuring and have space there. And the moment that thing happened, Ubenga kumto maga, Ubenga kumto fuck pressure, and then Ulake would try and mark that person. And then lo mudadla 1-2 no Hakim, and then Hakim will say free. And now we're in trouble. But if we had 3 people in the midfield, SARS no talking anchor like sidlale i3 like 1 2 3 in that way besokwazi ukuthi labantu abaseside no number 8 yibo abazophuma bazama ukumaka umuntu oku have space ozama ukudlala ama 1-2 no Hakimi. So as a result of that kugcine kuba inkinga. And when the crosses did come out, and instead of ukuthi oyedwa wabo of the center backs aphume ayomakisa uLakey, bevele bame bonke phana nendawo. And what you end up seeing ukuthi mase kuyi cross akasekho wazi ukuthi who's going to deal with the ball. Who's going to deal with the ball? Is it going to be Phyllis? Is it going to be Grant? Or is it going to be Pete? And bebelokhu bethola ama chances nje laba beketch. Bebelokhu bethola ama chances nje laba beketch. But abantu bethu abebelele ama defend. All 3 of them bengazi ukuthi baje bakhombana. It's weird. It's weird, and that is why sometimes a back 3 is not really an ideal formation or number of defenders that you want to have, because lo qala ucathe wesibili ozodlala nowesibili ucathe wesithathu at the end of the day bagcine bebukana. Kanti if bewu2 siyazi ukuthi mina ngimakisa kwa left wena umakisa kwa right. If usekunenkinga ke phakathi nendawo sekumsebenzi we-anchor leyo ukuthi a-drop azovala leso space. But if ukudlala 3 bonke bavile babukane, especially kunabantu abawu2 abangama-debutants, uzoba naleyo nkinga. But that's not to say never play them again. It's just to say the situation was not ideal for them, but I also don't think they also made it ideal for themselves, because at the end of the day you are professional footballers, so we cannot just keep on giving you excuses ukuthi bancane nama debutants. Get out of here. And enye into ukuthi we need a leader, and Ronan is a leader, but I feel like we also need a leader phakathi grounding, not umuntu ozomemeza ama instructions from ebhaleni, because uSithole almost got a red card, ubeqeda kuthola yellow card, and then usehead bathana nomuntu. I'm like, this kid yini inkinga yakho? Uzothola red card, it says levels are short, we're already under pressure, we're leading at the time. But I'm like, you do that thing and then the ref sees you're gone, because he did that with his head. And if it was a smarter player lo abadem head bathu bezovela athi azise kuye amhead, and the next thing Bafana Bafana dlala short. Anisebenziseni ingqondo manjita nani phela musanokwenza manje niyosibukisa nomhlaba la yini. Hayi manjita kahleni ivoice yami yashintsha manje ngathi I'm feeling the pain. And going back to Msele, I talked about him sleeping, but there's also the fact that he's so chilled. Udlala ibhola so slow. If you watch Sergio Busquets kwi Barcelona, kwi Spain, he doesn't look like the fastest player. Or Dembele lo wayedlala kwi Tottenham. They don't seem like the quickest players emhlabeni, even or Toni Kroos. But that's because bakudidisa ngomzimba ukuthi always slow, then bashaya pass. But lapha udlala neteam engakusabe kupressayo, so you have to show agency. Mawuthola ibhola pass dlala ama-1-2. Even nabi Morocco, they saw ukuthi we were pressing them, so bebedlala ama-1-2 1-2 1-2 1-2, keep the ball moving. Ayomselves afuna ukutrap aqalaza uqalazani isikhathi eside uzozumako, yazi ukuthi ubhola uzoliphasela bani before you even receive it. That's what we were told. Yet we see our professionals not doing that same thing. And going back to Lentole, the biggest problem that we're having was that Hakimi was playing a 1-2 with the person who we have space. When Unange eventually came in, we saw Uguti, he then neutralized that threat, because being a second Lentole Uguti Pola Seklalo Lama 1-2, and ama attacks actually started coming ngasendaweni kaMdawu, because at the time besebebona ukuthi Hakimi ngathi usemakiwe, and into besebedependa kuyo ukuthi badlala ibhola ngapha ngezansi, and then Hakimi would then be free, because the shift asizozama ukuzomakisa ngapha where they overloaded, and then they would then switch the ball. But then it wasn't like a lot of times after that, because ukubros ubesebonile ukuthi okay asilungise lapho. What I didn't get though is, why did he not just change the system? because I don't think really the boys would have complained much. Mabebona bekisho, like one of the defenders, like bangathiwa shintshile sawudlala 4-3-3 or even 4-5-1 at that point, to make sure ukuthi we cover it with both the defensive and the midfield line. In that way siyazi ukuthi and sibenze babe close together, limit ama spaces between those vertical lines, because into ebisenzeka still ukuthi ngenxa ukuthi siba u2/3 esiswini, kunzima ukucover all that ground to come back. Abadlali mabeme kanje, hope you see, these are the two, uNange noSithole, umsela ngazi nobebe mbekephi, and as a result ibhola makumele silimake wide siyamova sonke shonally, and then il switch sekumele barane futhi to the other side, and as a result ubona ngathi manje ngathi we're outnumbered, kanti we're not outnumbered. It's just the fact that indlela ebeset up ngayo wasn't so good. Kanti if you're just playing i4-5-1 straight, ushiye one striker phambili mawukuthi that's your idea ukuthi uzodefend or udlala 4-3-3, it's much better, because then you are compensating for uguti, or you are trying to overcome or defend against their width. But we're not doing that. Uguti, for what reason angazi. Ngizophinde ngisho ukuthi the coach's plan mina ngiyibonile personally. That's just my opinion. I saw it, but the individuals did not execute it. And that's why I'm saying when he saw ukuthi the plan wasn't working as he would have wanted it to, then maybe change the formation. In his defense, Uzoti, we still got him our chances. There's a chance where Tau should have passed, he chose to go on his right foot. There's a chance where Tau ended up passing the ball to Matt, and then Matt did what he did. We got chances, Guatina. We could have scored 3-4 goals, Nat, and then we could have considered 10 goals. But we still could have scored like 2 goals or 1 goal extra than the one that we scored, and the match would have been a draw, because ibisebenza lento yokuthi bazodlala high line, bazozama ukusipressa. So nathi what we must do when we get the ball, uPercy is staying up front, akabuyi ukuzomaka, dlalani ibhola kuye, and ibhola ubelithola uPercy, and naye ngathi is just off his paces nje, because there was that chance lagcina ephasela khona uMathi uPercy bengemfavor lapho ukuthi amshiye lo umuntu, but it didn't. Angazi noma ukuthi uqhamuka from the right, from the left to inside, or because usejwayele ukuthi akhathe in, but in that case ube qhamuka like a traditional left winger. So njengoba kade ngisho indlela engifila ngayo nami ngazi njani, it's a game that I think we could have won, but we didn't. And we need a target man if we're going to play that system against bigger teams. We need Olitswalo, we need Dupree. We need someone also by a target man, also malapha phezulu, and then masil khahlela ke ibhola phambili ngoba ngathi siyalikhahlela, and it seems like it works at times. Nginishilo in the other video mina, as if this coach gets us to the AFCON, I really don't care how. I just want to go back to international tournaments again. Lento yokuthi njalo thina we always have to pick other nations to support. I don't like it. And then once again, Umat loses the ball and we concede. And it was a thing, valid, that was happening throughout the match. Ukuthi we were just losing the ball in dangerous places, trying to dribble when we shouldn't have, and all that stuff. Having said all of that, I will still give a shout out to the likes of Mintwana Leaga Stolu udlale kahle kakhulu lapha eswini, and he could be very that holding midfielder that we need. Even Makuthiwa dlala 4-2-3-1 in a double pivot, he could be that box to box player that we need, cause uZungu njengamanje simbona ukuthi ikhiphani ngaye until kulunga indaba kaZungu. But for the future he's there, and simbonile he's so comfortable on the ball and une confidence, and you can see ukuthi he can be a leader and add to leadership lapha grounding. But overall, at the end of the game, I'm disappointed because I wasn't expecting Bafana Bafana to go and win 5-0, but I was expecting them to do better, especially after they scored that goal, because I was like, okay, now this is something. And the fact that we kept on getting chances and missing them is what makes me more disappointed. That's just my opinion. That's what I saw from the match. What did you think of the match? What did you see? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you're new to this channel, please make sure to subscribe. In this channel, we speak everything Kaizer Chiefs and Maglal Bafana Bafana, also Bafana Bafana. Please like this video so that YouTube can spread it to more people like you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bilo out.